Ethan stepped down from the small shuttle and looked around the vast spaceport of Varus 3. The colony was unlike anything he had ever seen before. Tall, shining towers reached up to the sky. Strange plants with glowing leaves moved gently in. The soft wind. Around him, people walked quickly, their faces showing both excitement and seriousness. Some were humans like him, but most were aliens. Ethan felt both curious and nervous. This was a new world, his new home. He carried a small bag with his belongings and followed the signs toward the main city. He noticed that many aliens were staring at him. Their eyes were wide, and some whispered quietly to each other. Ethan tried not to look too much at them. Maybe it was because he was new. Maybe they had never seen a human before. He had been told that Varus 3 was a peaceful colony where different species lived and worked together. He hoped that was true. As Ethan walked, he saw a group of tall, slender aliens with pale blue skin and long silver hair. They moved gracefully, and their eyes shone like stars. Ethan learned later they were called Viralians. They seemed to watch him closely. One of them, a woman with soft green eyes, smiled at him briefly. Ethan smiled back, feeling a little more at ease. He reached the housing area assigned to him. His room was small but clean. He set down his bag and looked out the window. From there he could see the city stretching far in every direction. He felt a mix of excitement and loneliness. This was far from Earth, his home planet. He missed the familiar sky and his family, but he also wanted to prove himself here. The next morning, Ethan reported to his new job at the Habitat Maintenance Unit. His task was to help take care of the living domes that held plants and animals from many planets. It was hard work, but he liked being outside among the green life. He met some other workers, both humans and aliens. Most were polite but quiet. He noticed again that some Viralians kept looking at him. Their faces calm but curious. One day, during a break, Ethan sat with a few coworkers. He tried to start a conversation, but they gave short answers. One alien, a stout creature with brown fur named Grawl, told Ethan that the colony was special. Varus 3 has its own customs, Grawl said. Sometimes things seem strange to newcomers. Ethan asked, like what? Grawl shrugged. Like the way we show respect, or the way we choose partners. It's not like on Earth. But he still did not understand. He had lived on Earth, where people chose their own friends and partners freely. He wondered if things here were different. That evening, Ethan went to the market dome. Bright lights hung from the ceiling, and stalls sold food and goods from many worlds. He bought some fresh fruit and sat on a bench. Nearby, he saw a group of Viralians speaking softly. They looked at him, then quickly turned away when he noticed that a young Viralian woman approached him quietly. She had silver hair tied back and deep blue eyes. "Hello," she said softly. Ethan smiled. "Hi, I'm Ethan, new here." "I'm Naira," she said. "You have many people watching you." "Yeah, I noticed," Ethan replied. "Do you know why?" Naira hesitated. "There is something special about you, but it is not yet time to tell you." Ethan looked confused. "Special me?" Naira nodded. "The colony will soon announce something important. When that happens, you will understand." Before Ethan could ask more, she nodded goodbye and walked away. That night, Ethan lay on his bed and thought about Naira's words. He felt both curious and uneasy. What could be so special about him? Why did the aliens stare? He had hoped to just live quietly here, but now he felt like he was at the center of something big. The next day, a loud announcement echoed through the colony. Ethan rushed to the central plaza, where a large crowd had gathered. Above them, a holographic screen lit up with the image of the colony leader, an older Viralian named Maris. "Citizens of Varus 3, Maris said in a clear voice. "Today, we begin the annual tradition of the mating lottery. This ceremony strengthens our bonds and brings peace among our species." Ethan listened closely as Maris explained that every year, the colony held a lottery where eligible colonists could be chosen to form bonds with others. This helped mix the species and keep harmony. But this year was different. For the first time, Maris announced, humans will be included in the lottery. It is a sign of trust and unity. The crowd gasped. Ash! Ethan's heart beat faster. Then the screen showed a list of names. Ethan's name was there. He was chosen. He looked around, seeing the faces of other humans and aliens. Some smiled warmly, others looked serious. Ethan finally understood why he had been stared at. So much. He did not know what to feel. Honor? Fear? Excitement? The lottery was unknown to him. He wondered what it meant for his future. As the crowd dispersed, Ethan saw Naira standing nearby. She looked at him with a mix of kindness and worry. "You have much to learn," she said softly. Ethan nodded. "Will you help me?" Naira smiled faintly. "Yes, but be ready. Everything will change soon." Ethan looked up at the strange sky of Varus 3 and felt that his journey was only beginning. The morning sun rose over the shining towers of Varus 3 as Ethan woke up with a mix of excitement and worry. His name was on the mating lottery list. He did not know what to expect, but he felt a heavy weight on his chest. What did being chosen mean? Why had the colony included humans this year? He hoped to find answers soon. After breakfast, Ethan went to the central hall where the lottery candidates were gathering. The hall was large and filled with beings of many shapes and sizes. Some were tall and thin, like the Viralians. Others were shorter and furry. Some had scales or feathers. All looked curious, and many seemed nervous. Ethan found Naira near the entrance. She smiled at him softly. "Welcome to the next step," she said. "This is where you learn the rules." Inside, a colony official began to speak. The mating. "Lottery is a tradition meant to strengthen the bonds between our peoples," she explained. "It is not a forced marriage or partnership. All participants have the right to choose freely." Ethan listened carefully as she continued. "The lottery is about compatibility. Before today, many of you took tests and surveys to measure your traits and preferences. This helps us match people who might form strong bonds." The official looked around the room. "Each candidate will meet suitors from different species who show interest. You will have time to learn about each other. No pressure, no rush. If you do not wish to continue, you may withdraw at any time." Ethan breathed. A little easier. It sounded less scary than he had feared. Still, he felt a strange mix of pride and nervousness. He had never been chosen for anything like this before. After the speech, Ethan received a small booklet. It explained the process, the rights of candidates, and a list of suitors interested in him. He saw names from many species. Some he recognized. Others new to him. Naira came over. "You did very well on the compatibility tests," she said quietly. "Many suitors are curious about you." "Why?" Ethan asked. "I'm just a normal human. Humans are new here," Naira replied. "Your kind is rare. Many find you interesting. But it is more than that. Your scores were higher than most." Ethan felt surprised. "Higher? Why?" Naira shrugged. "Humans have unique traits. Your way of thinking, your emotions, your biology. It is different. Many want to understand it." Over the next few days, Ethan met his suitors one by one. Each was from a different world with its own culture and customs. Some meetings were strange, some were kind, and some were simply confusing. The first suitor was a tall, blue-skinned alien named Rilo. He spoke slowly and carefully. He told Ethan about his home planet and his people's love of music. Rilo gave Ethan a small musical stone that played soft sounds when touched. "This is a gift," Rilo said, "to show my interest and respect." Ethan thanked him and smiled. Rilo bowed and left quietly. The next suitor was a furry creature named Cora. She was playful and laughed easily. She invited Ethan to her workshop, where she made small statues from clay. She gave him a statue shaped like a star. "It is lucky," Cora said, "for you to find your path." Ethan found himself enjoying the meetings. Each suitor was different and kind in their own way, yet he could not shake a feeling of being watched. Many colonists still stared at him when he walked by. Naira stayed close, but seemed more distant. Sometimes she avoided his questions or changed the subject. Ethan wondered if she was hiding something. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Ethan found Naira alone on the sky bridge. The stars sparkled above them, and the city lights shimmered below. Double quotes, Naira, why are you different around me now? Ethan asked gently. You used to be friendly, but now you seem afraid or sad. Naira looked away. It is complicated, she said softly. I did not enter the lottery. Why not? Ethan asked. Are you afraid of losing? Naira shook her head. No, I care too much to enter. The lottery is a tradition, but it can be harsh. Many see it as a game. People try to win and impress, but real feelings get lost. Ethan listened closely. So you did not want to treat this like a game? Exactly, Naira said. I wanted you to have freedom, not pressure. But I could not tell you before. Ethan reached out and gently touched her hand. Thank you for being honest. I wish I knew sooner. They sat quietly watching the stars. For the first time, Ethan felt like Naira saw him as a person, not just a candidate. Over the next days, Ethan thought deeply. He enjoyed meeting suitors but felt something missing. He wanted something real, not just a tradition. One morning he went to the colony council. Leaders listened as Ethan spoke. I'm honored to be chosen, he said, but I want to ask if I can withdraw. I want to choose freely, not because of a lottery. The council leader nodded thoughtfully. Withdrawal is allowed, but rare. It will surprise many. Are you sure? Yes, Ethan said firmly. News spread quickly. Suitors stopped visiting. Some were disappointed, others respectful. Ethan felt relief mixed with sadness. Naira came to see him. You are brave, she said. Not everyone chooses freedom. Ethan smiled. I just want to be myself. As the mating lottery continued without him, Ethan and Naira began spending more time together. They walked through the gardens, talked about Earth and Varus 3, and shared quiet moments. The pressure of the lottery faded, and something natural grew between them. One evening, under the violet sky, Naira took Ethan's hand. There were no ceremonies, no lists, just two souls choosing each other freely. Ethan knew his journey was just beginning, but this time, on his own terms. After Ethan decided to withdraw from the mating lottery, life on Varus 3 began to settle into a new rhythm for him. The once constant visits from suitors slowed to nothing, and the colony's curious eyes shifted away. Yet the experience left him with many questions about connection, tradition, and freedom. Naira stayed by Ethan's side more often now. Without the pressure of the lottery, their conversations grew deeper and honest. They explored the colony's gardens together, walking among strange plants that shimmered softly in the twilight. Ethan enjoyed learning about the Varalian culture from her, their history, their hopes and fears. One afternoon, as they sat beside a quiet pond filled with glowing fish, Naira shared a secret. There's more to the mating lottery than most people know, she said softly. It was once a simple way to bring different species together, but over time it grew into something complicated. Many forget it is about choice. Ethan listened carefully. Why do they forget? Because tradition can become a chain, Naira replied. People follow it without thinking. They compete, show off, or hide their true feelings. It can hurt those involved. Ethan thought about his own experience. The suitors had been kind, but the whole event felt like a show. He had wanted something real, not a game. How did you feel about it? Asked Naira. I was torn, she said, eyes distant. I cared for you, but I was afraid the lottery would change us, or that you would feel trapped. So, I stayed silent. Ethan reached for her hand. Thank you for protecting me in your own way. Their bond grew stronger, but it was not without challenges. Some colony members whispered behind Ethan's back. They wondered why he had withdrawn. Some saw it as disrespect to the colony's customs. One day, Ethan was called to meet with the colony leader, Maris. The room was quiet and filled with soft light. Maris greeted him warmly. Ethan, your choice has surprised many, Maris said, gently, but it shows courage. Tell me, what do you want from this colony? Ethan thought for a moment. I want to be part of this community, but I want respect for my freedom. I want to build connections based on honesty, not rules. Maris smiled. That is wise. Perhaps the colony needs to remember the true meaning of the lottery. After the meeting, Ethan felt hopeful. Maybe his choice would help the colony change. Over the following weeks, Ethan and Naira spent more time together exploring the city. They visited museums filled with artifacts from many worlds and tried foods with strange but delicious flavors. Ethan loved hearing Naira's stories about Viralian traditions, and she enjoyed learning about Earth's simple pleasures. One evening, as they walked beneath the glowing trees, Ethan felt a new feeling, a calm happiness he had never known. He looked at Naira and saw her smile back, her eyes bright. "I want to ask you something," Ethan said quietly. Naira looked surprised but curious. "What is it?" "Would you like to share your life with me?" Ethan asked. "Not because of the lottery or rules, but because we choose it." Naira's smile grew warm. "Yes, Ethan, I want that too." Their friendship blossomed into something deeper, gentle, honest connection built on trust and choice. News of their relationship spread through the colony. Many were surprised but respected their decision. Some even said it reminded them why the lottery had started, to bring beings together in true harmony. As the days passed, Ethan and Naira faced small challenges. They learned to understand each other's differences, how Viralian feelings and human emotions sometimes clashed or confused. Yet each challenge made their bond stronger. One night, Ethan looked up at the twin moons shining in the sky. He thought about his journey from the strange stairs when he arrived, to the unexpected lottery, to now. He felt grateful for every step. Naira joined him silently and took his hand. "You have changed this colony in ways you don't see," she said softly. Ethan smiled. "And you have changed me." They stood together, two different worlds united by a choice freely made. Days turned into weeks on Varus 3, and Ethan and Naira's relationship quietly grew stronger. They had found comfort in each other's company, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams beneath the colony's violet skies. Their bond was different. From the formal connections made through the mating lottery, it was real, honest, and free. But not everyone in the colony was happy. Some members whispered in dark corners, uneasy about the human who had rejected tradition. Rumors spread, and a few suitors who had once hoped to win Ethan's favor now watched with suspicion. One afternoon, as Ethan and Naira walked through the bustling market dome, a group of aliens approached them. The tallest, a fierce-looking reptilian named Zoran, stepped forward. "Ethan," he said, his voice low and rough, "you turned your back on our customs. Why should we respect you?" Ethan looked calmly at Zoran. "I did not reject the colony. I chose to follow my heart." Zoran snorted. "Your heart, it's not Earth. Here, traditions keep us strong. You disrespect the unity we built." Naira stepped between them. "Zoran, please, respect their choice. True unity comes from freedom." Zoran glared but said nothing. The group moved away, but the tension remained. Later that day, Ethan and Naira talked about the confrontation. Ethan felt anger, but also sadness. "Why do some fear change so much?" he asked. Naira sighed. "Because change is uncertain. It breaks the old ways. But sometimes it is needed." Their conversation was interrupted by a message from the colony. Council Ethan was invited to speak at the next gathering. Topic: the future of the mating lottery and the colony's unity. The day of the gathering arrived. Ethan stood before a large crowd of aliens and humans. He felt the weight of many eyes on him. Some were welcoming, others doubtful. He took a deep breath and began. "Friends, I understand the importance of our traditions. They have held this colony together. But I ask you to remember the meaning behind them." He paused, looking into the crowd. "The mating lottery was meant to bring us closer, to build bonds of trust and love. But love cannot be forced or planned. It must grow freely." Some nodded, others frowned. "I chose to withdraw because I wanted to choose freely," Ethan continued. "Not to disrespect, but to honor who I am. I believe the colony can grow stronger if we allow freedom in our connections." After he spoke, there was a silence. Then Maris, the colony leader, stepped forward. "Ethan speaks with honesty and courage," Maris said. His choice reminds us why this colony exists: to learn, to grow, to accept. We will review the lottery's role and ensure it respects all voices, the crowd murmured. Some clapped softly. Ethan felt relief and hope. After the gathering, many came to speak with Ethan and Naira. Some shared their own doubts about the lottery. Others thanked them for their courage. Life on Varus 3 slowly began to change. The council formed a group to rethink the lottery. They invited ideas from all species. Ethan and Naira worked together. To help this process, they hosted discussions, shared stories, and listened to hopes and fears. One evening, as they walked through the colony's gardens, Naira turned to Ethan. "You have done more than choose love," she said. "You have helped this place grow." Ethan smiled. "I only followed my heart." Their happiness was real, but challenges remained. Old customs died slowly, and some still resisted change. One night, Ethan woke to a soft knock on his door. It was Naira, looking worried. "There is news," she whispered. "Some factions want to restart the lottery with more strict rules. They fear freedom will cause chaos." Ethan frowned. "We must stop that. The colony needs balance, not force." Together, they went to the council the next day. They spoke passionately about respect, freedom, and love. The council listened. After much debate, they agreed to create a new version of the lottery, one that was voluntary, respectful, and focused on true connection. This victory was small, but important. It showed that even in a colony of many species, change was possible. Ethan and Naira returned home, holding hands under the soft light of the twin moons. They knew their journey was not over, but they faced the future together, in the quiet moments. They smiled, knowing they had helped build a better place at Colony, where love was chosen, not forced. Life on Varus 3 began to feel more peaceful for Ethan and Naira after the council agreed to change the mating lottery. The new rules made it clear that the lottery was a choice, not a command. Anyone could join or leave as they wished. This was a big step for the colony, but old habits were hard to break. One morning, Ethan woke early and went to the training center where he worked with other humans and aliens. The place buzzed with activity as workers prepared habitats and shared stories. Ethan enjoyed this part of his life, but he also felt proud of the change he helped start. During a break, Naira came to visit. She smiled warmly. "Good morning, Ethan. I brought you something." She handed him a small crystal, glowing softly in her hand. "This is a symbol of hope from my people. It reminds us that light can come even in the darkest times." Ethan accepted it gratefully. "Thank you, Naira. It means a lot." Their friendship had grown into something deeper. They spent more time exploring the colony's hidden places, the quiet forests, the sparkling lakes, and the old ruins of early settlers. One day, a group of young aliens asked Ethan to join them for a game. They called it Truth Paths, where players shared stories about their past. Ethan hesitated but agreed. He told them about Earth, his family, and why he came to Veris-3. The others shared their own stories of struggles, dreams, and hopes. Ethan felt a strong sense of belonging. He realized that no matter the species, everyone longed to be understood. Later, Ethan and Naira walked through the market dome. Vendors sold food and crafts from many worlds. The air was filled with music and laughter. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded. Bright red lights flashed across the city. People stopped and looked around, confused and scared. An announcement came over the speakers. "Attention, citizens. A group of outsiders has entered Varus 3's space without permission. All security forces are on alert." Ethan's heart raced. He had heard stories of hostile groups beyond the colony, but he never thought they would come here. He looked at Naira. "What do we do?" "Stay calm," she said. "The council will handle this." Soon, colony defenders prepared to face the threat. Ethan helped with organizing supplies and comforting nervous residents. The tension lasted for hours. Then, news came that the outsiders were not attacking. Instead, they requested to speak with the council. They were refugees, fleeing war in their home system. The council agreed to meet. Ethan watched as leaders from many species gathered to discuss the newcomer's fate. Some wanted to refuse entry, fearing danger. Others believed in helping those in need. After long talks, the council decided to allow the refugees temporary shelter and aid, but with careful monitoring, Ethan felt proud of his colony. Despite fear, they chose kindness. Over the next days, Ethan volunteered to help the refugees settle. He taught them basic tasks and shared stories of Earth to bring comfort. Naira joined him, using her knowledge of different species to ease tensions. One evening, as they rested by the glowing lake, Naira spoke softly. "This colony is more than a place. It is a family." Ethan nodded. "And families are built on trust, love, and freedom." Their hands found each other's again, warm and steady. The experience with the refugees reminded the colony why the mating lottery had started long ago to unite. Go different worlds through understanding and respect. Ethan thought about how far he had come from feeling like an outsider to becoming a part of this great family. The future still held challenges, but he was ready to face them with Naira and the colony by his side. One night, under the stars, Ethan and Naira sat quietly. The soft hum of the colony surrounded them. "Thank you for choosing me," Ethan said. Naira smiled. "And thank you for choosing freedom." They looked up at the violet sky, knowing that their story was just one of many in this vast universe, stories of courage, change, and love that could never be forced. The colony of Varus 3 was changing. The old ways of the mating lottery had been softened, allowing more freedom and respect for everyone's choice. Ethan and Naira had become symbols of that change. Their story showed the colony that true connection came from the heart, not from tradition or rules. One bright morning, Ethan woke early and looked out from his room. The twin moons were still fading from the sky, and the soft violet light made everything look peaceful. He thought about how different his life was now from the day he arrived. He remembered the stares, the whispers, the strange feeling of being the center of attention. Back then, he had no idea why. Now, he understood. He was part of a bigger story, one about change, courage, and choice. Naira came to him, carrying 2 cups of warm tea made from the herbs of her home. She smiled softly. "Good morning, Ethan." "Good morning, Naira," he said, taking a cup. "Do you think the colony will ever forget the lottery?" Naira shook her head. "Traditions do not disappear quickly, but they grow and change. Now, the lottery is a tool, not a rule." They sipped their tea, watching the city come to life. Children played in the gardens, aliens and humans walked side by side, and soft music floated through the air. Later that day, the Colony Council held a celebration to honor the new spirit of unity. Leaders from every species gathered. Ethan and Naira were invited as special guests. Maris, the colony leader, spoke to the crowd. "Today we celebrate not only our traditions, but the courage to change. We honor those who choose their own path, who follow their hearts." Ethan felt proud and humbled. He looked at Naira, who smiled back with warmth and hope. After the speeches, the crowd moved to the open gardens. Music played and food from many worlds was shared. Ethan and Naira walked, hand in hand, feeling the joy of the moment. Some colony members approached them, thanking them for their bravery and honesty. Ethan realized how much they had inspired others to think freely as the sun set. Casting golden light over the colony, Ethan and Naira found a quiet place beneath a large flowering tree. The petals glowed softly, falling like gentle rain. Naira looked at Ethan. "This journey has changed me." "Me too," Ethan replied. "I came here hoping to find a place to belong. Instead, I found a home and someone to share it with." They sat close, feeling the calm of the night around them. Then, Naira took Ethan's hand in hers and said softly, "We may be from different worlds, but together, we have built something real. Not because of rules, but because of choice." Ethan smiled. "That is the greatest gift." The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if blessing their union in the months that followed. The colony continued to grow in understanding and respect. The mating lottery became a celebration of choice, welcoming all who wished to join, and respecting those who did not. Ethan and Naira's story became a legend. Reminder that true connection cannot be forced or planned. It must be freely given. And freely received one day, as Ethan looked out over the colony from the high tower. He thought about the journey that had brought him here. From a nervous newcomer to a symbol of change, he had learned that courage meant being true to oneself. Naira joined him, wrapping her arm around his waist. "We have come far, and the future is ours to build," Ethan said with hope. They stood together, watching the twin moons rise again over Varus 3, ready for whatever adventures awaited them. Their story was not just theirs alone, it was the story of a colony that learned to see beyond differences and traditions, to the heart of what made them family, and in that truth, they found freedom, love, and peace.